Welcome back to the HaloEmpire. Today is a big day because it's the launch of the second season of Halo. No, not Halo Infinite, the Halo TV series starring the one and only Master Cheeks. This is going to be a non-spoiler review of the first 2 episodes of Halo Season 2. Now, I don't want to go too in-depth into this because I think you should watch this, but here are just my overall first impressions. Now, this came out super early this morning, so I made sure I was going to be up first thing watching this show. Now, I was one that actually quite liked Season 1 of the Halo TV show. Obviously, it wasn't perfect. Some of the characterizations weren't really accurate to the novels or the games, so obviously that was quite jarring to see. But for the most part, I thought the action was pretty good. I actually don't mind seeing others' interpretations of franchises I like. Obviously, if we got that Peter Jackson or Neil Blomkamp film, it wouldn't have been part of the game's lore, it would have been something new. So I don't really mind it. As long as it's good, it's fine to me. But Season 1, well, it wasn't exactly good, but I liked it. It was mainly just the writing and the characterizations that held it back. Obviously, the biggest thing that was memed about was when Master Chief sleeps with Marquis, a Covenant spy, and obviously it's rightfully taken the mick out of ever since. And obviously there was that scene where Master Chief tried to punch Halsey in the face, and if he did that, I'm pretty sure there would just be a bloody mess on the floor. It was really weird. It was stuff like that that just kind of left a bad taste in our mouth. And one thing going into Season 2 is that the reviews and the marketing all said the same thing, that the TV show was going to be more faithful to the games and the franchise lore. They said there was more action, it was more about war, and the best thing, Master Chief was going to keep his helmet on more. So I was really hyped. Obviously, like I say, I quite liked Season 1, but there was so many improvements that you could make. So did Season 2 make all those improvements?
Maybe. I don't know. Not really.
And kind of. It was definitely better than a lot of the episodes in Season 1. I still think the first episode of Season 1 is actually pretty good television, but going to Season 2, the tone feels a lot more like Halo. So stuff like the characterization of Master Chief feels a lot more true to the game. Someone even comments on the fact he doesn't talk much. And there's some quips here and there that feel right out of the books. The Spartans here stand out immediately as being so much better than they were in Season 1. In what's kind of a throwaway line, they say that the emotional inhibitors have been taken out of their bodies, which I'm so thankful for. That is such a dumb thing that they put in Season 1. Spartans are the way they are because they've been raised like that. They've been indoctrinated by the military, not because they got little devices in their arse cheeks. I'm just so glad that's gone. The first 20 minutes of Season 2 is some of the best Halo live action stuff we've had for, I guess, several years now. It feels so much like Halo, and the music that accompanies it is just so good. And I just learned this yesterday, but Bear McCreary, the composer behind Godzilla and The Walking Dead, is doing the music for Season 2. That just blows my mind because I would have never thought he'd be composing for Halo, but it's such a perfect fit. He always utilized Gregorian chants in his music for Godzilla King of the Monsters and obviously God of War, so it just adds up. It works completely well here. And that intro, man, it gives me goosebumps. It is so good. I actually liked the theme in the first series, but they've actually brought the classic theme back, and it just fits so well. The cinematography is, like the show, a lot darker this time around. It's a lot more gritty, there's a lot of handheld shots. It's as if they're trying to portray that you're there in the action with them, which I think is a really cool way to add a bit of tension to the scenes. It just feels a lot more grounded. It's a lot less shiny and polished than Season 1, which I think complements the actual war scenery a lot more. And yes, like Season 1, we do explore the humanity behind the Spartans still, and it's handled a lot better here than it was in Season 1. In Season 1, it wasn't very subtle at all. It was like the Spartans were going through puberty and handling all these emotions at once, but now it's a lot more somber. It's clear the Spartans aren't used to talking about their emotions. Hiding their pain is very common, both physically and emotionally. So here we get to see Silver Team kind of learning how to communicate a lot more, which is actually really nice. The visual effects, I will say, I can't tell if they're better or worse. They sometimes do feel quite floaty, but I'm really liking the actual design of the elites this time around. I did actually like the way they looked in Season 1, But then again, I'm also a fan of the way they looked in Halo 4, so that's probably why they do look kind of similar. But here, they look a lot more like the traditional Elite design, definitely more in line with something like Halo 2. But one thing they've done to kind of cloud the bad VFX is by having most of the action sequences take place in the dark or in some foggy environment. They're using decades-old techniques to make sure the VFX is as effective as possible, which, you know, it works. It kind of makes the Elites more scary as well, which I very much appreciate. So the cinematography, the characterization of the Spartans, the tone, the music, it's all really good, but there are some flaws in it, and it's that the side characters are unfortunately not very interesting. To be fair, we don't have a ton of them, but the second scene of the show is kind of this courtroom scene, and we see Soren judging who gets to join them on the ship, and it just goes on for so long. It's so boring. I ended up going on my phone until that scene was over. So yeah, I'm hoping with episode 3 and the future episodes that it kind of develops their characters into something a bit more interesting, because right now it feels like they're just there because they were there in season 1, and they can't really figure out what to do with them. Although from what we've seen, it does feel like there's going to be some kind of crossover with Soren and the Spartans later on in the series, so I'm sure I'll start giving a shit at some point. But obviously it's not a good start when you're trying to convince yourself that you will like these characters at some point. You know, good characters, you like them from the first scene. But overall, I am really preferring the tone of this series. To me, it feels a lot more like Halo. Now, there's a lot in the first 2 episodes that I don't want to spoil for you, so I do recommend watching it if you are a Halo fan. But I know I mentioned that the marketing and the reviews said this is a complete reinvention of the series and it's nothing like Season 1, when no. It very much is a continuation of Season 1. There are characters that return and themes that carry over from that first season. It doesn't just pretend that first season didn't exist, which obviously makes sense. Believe it or not, there were a lot of people that liked Season 1. So they've got to strike a balance between the Halo fans and the people that just came in to watch the series. And I think they've got probably the best case scenario for this. It feels like Halo, the characterizations for the Spartans and Oni and the UNSC, it's all really good, but it's still got that kind of non-canon thing going on, where it's kind of exploring the emotions of the Spartans a bit too much. So am I excited to continue watching Season 2? And the answer is yes, of course, I'm a Halo fan, why wouldn't I? But the way that episode 2 ended is really intriguing, but also a bit worrying because of a character that they've reintroduced. I'll let you watch it and be the judge, but tell me it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, for episode 1, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 or maybe a 7.5. The action was great, but some of the scenes with the side characters was just not that intriguing. But the themes on undercover government agencies and what it means to be a soldier are actually really interesting to explore here. And episode 2, I'd probably give a 7.5. There's no action scene, but there is a scene where we get to see the Spartans training, which is really cool. So yeah, the first 2 episodes of Season 2 are out now. Go watch it and come back and tell me your thoughts. Be sure to like this video if you want more Halo content. This has been Mythic Owl, and we'll see you next time on the Halo Empire.